So, the Breonna Taylor's case, did the cops lie to get the warrant? Coming right up. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Common Sense Logical Reason. And as always, thank y'all for joining me today. So we know that a decision was made in the Breonna Taylor's case. The jury decided that the cops were ruled not liable in her death. And based upon what the evidence, all the evidence that we've seen, I have to say it was the right decision. Of course, you can't tell that to black folks. You can't tell that to brainwashed blacks. Black folks are all up in a rage now. And they say that, well, the cops should be charged. And why? Well, they always got a viewpoint and angle. Anytime a decision is rendered and evidence is clear and cut, they always got to find some type of angle to say it's the white man's fault. So what is this angle that they have? Well, they're saying that the cops are guilty because they falsified information. Now, what information is this? Well, one of the cops, when they gave the affidavit, said that they contacted the postmaster about suspicious packages going to Breonna Taylor's house. Now, the postmaster said that the cops never contacted him, but a third-party agency did contact him, and they were told that there was nothing suspicious about any packages. And somehow, this is the magic bullet to make the cops guilty. And really, this is the only angle that they have, but they keep trying to push this angle, right? But I have, again, 3 issues. I always question things. I have 3 issues with this whole argument that just doesn't make any sense. Now, my first issue is this whole argument is based upon the idea that the cops only got the warrant because of this whole suspicious packages thing, that they use the idea of possible suspicious packages to Breonna Taylor's house to get a warrant. And honestly, that's just simply not true. I mean, the police officers did over 4 years worth of surveillance on a home. I mean, they had plenty of sufficient evidence to get a no-knock warrant, and you don't just get a no-knock warrant for nothing. I mean, first of all, they have surveillance video of the boyfriend going back and forth between her home and the trap houses, and her also doing the same thing. Then they have audio evidence of the boyfriend using the phone at the police between him and her, as well as him and other people, him saying that Breonna Taylor was holding all of his money. So in other words, she was a drug bank. That's a term that I just learned. I had never heard that term before. So, but she was holding the money, and it's similar to when you hear all these rappers just talking about, what's the guy named Young Jeezy? He leaves his stuff in his auntie's house. So the auntie is the warehouse, his drug warehouse, and supposedly to keep it away, keep it out of harm's way from the cops, where the cops wouldn't suspect that it's anything is auntie, which is why I would never get involved in idiotic nonsense like that. But the police officer had more than sufficient evidence to get a warrant. They had nothing to do with no suspicious packages. Now, my second issue is, who is this third-party agency that contacted the postmaster about these packages? I just find it funny that some agency would just contact them. I mean, who would have invested interest in contacting the postmaster about packages for a case that the same identical case that the police officers are working on? And the only group I can think of that would want that information is law enforcement. I mean, I seriously doubt that the NBA or the NFL was acquired about suspicious packages to Breonna Taylor's house. I seriously doubt that the WWE was worried about Breonna Taylor. So who is this third party agency? And you can say, well, I guess lawyers, the prosecuting lawyer, or any lawyers could be inquiring about this information. But then this was done long before the raid. This was not long before. I mean, the inquiry was made in January. The raid was done in March. So this was before the raid even took place, and there was a case. So why would lawyers be concerned about this? Again, the only agency that I'm aware of that would want to know this information is any agency that was that was investigating it, which would be the cops. Now, did anyone say by what means did the cops say they contacted the postmaster? Could it possibly be through this third party agency? Anyway, the third issue that I have about this whole argument is I would like to know what exactly did the cops say? No, did the cops say that they contacted the postmaster and the postmaster came back and said that there were suspicious packages? If that's the case, then you have a conflict between the cop and the postmaster, and then who's actually correct, who's right and who's wrong, who's being truthful and who's lying. But again, we need to know exactly what did the cops say. Did the cops say by what means did they contact the postmaster? No one ever said this. They're just saying that he said he contacted the postmaster. The postmaster said that they didn't. The police didn't, and therefore the police are lying. Again, it's all just speculation. But the fact is, the evidence is quite clear. The police officer had sufficient means to get a warrant. And as I've said, people have said so many times, again, of course, Breonna Taylor, who was a police officer who was on raids, who was involved in the whole cop ratings, SWATs and all this stuff. You don't get a no-knock warrant for nothing just because of suspicious packages. Beyond that, like I said, it was the right decision, and there's no argument that anyone can make now. They just, black folks now just being a-holes, just wanting to keep crying about racism because they can't accept that this was not racism. Okay, the cops didn't lie in the story. Again, you have any argument out there, anybody that disagrees with that, please bring it forward, but it better not be the same nonsense. But anyway, y'all, and as always, until next time.